leader of Dublin, and we also have Caitlin that are going to introduce themselves and present a bit. Let's start with the quick introduction from both of you. The first part will be run by Kailin, and the second part will be run by Raji. And I will be here to try to help with the questions in the room. All yours, Kailin.
Um, Hi, Kalyani. So could you please start the session?
Yeah, please. I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, okay. Thanks everybody for joining the session. So I'll be go through with you all about JSM and why it's a go-to for the current ITSM market. Let me start presenting. Right. So just a brief introduction about our company, which I'm working for. So it's a Trust Triangle. It's a gold solution Atlassian partner, and we are located in Dublin. And of course, we are spread across a couple of other places as well, UK, North America, and India as well. So just a short description about the agenda. I hope my voice is clear.
Yes, it
Yes.
is clear.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks. So, coming on to the agenda, so I'll be go through with you about Jira Service Management features and why Atlassian JSM for ITSM we should try it out. And I'll be taking a couple of questions as well after that. Yeah, of course, but you can definitely stop me in between. So first and foremost is that who can use Jira Service Management? So those are product owners, business analysts, project leads, designers, engineers, developers, and testing team. So you can broadly see that it is also used by a technical team and also non-technical teams as well as a part of their regular day-to-day activities in the organization. Coming on to what JSM could provide. So these are all different modules through Jira Service Management you can work with. So these are HR Service Management, Incident, Service Request, Problem Management, Asset Management, Change Management. These are key modules in Jira Service Management tool. So the key advantages of JSM could be broadly divided into four. Enhanced collaborations, so which is the most important in our current ecosystem where every member in the team and the teams on the high level should be on an same page when they're working towards a particular goal. So that is very much possible and very effectively robustic in nature, available in JSM. Coming on to the streamlined workflows, which enhances the optimized approach for any particular flow or any response. It's basically to standardize how we respond to a particular issue or a request, which in turn will increase the efficiency and also the productivity of the team and thereby the organization altogether. The other most important feature is customized dashboards, so which gives, as the dashboard itself will make you understand that it gives a broader and also granular idea of what's happening on the floor with an individual as a team member, how he or she is occupied, to the topmost how the project is progressing at the given point of time. And the most important and the one coming up is a strong integration. Strong strong integration capabilities. So it's seamlessly connects with the Atlassian tools also, and also it also have a bigger marketplace where you can integrate with the third party applications and also any SaaS application as well. So, and the unique features of JSM, which makes any organization as a go-to SaaS product, is its no code or low code feature. So this will help any organization with a very little technical knowledge to spin up the instance and also become proficient in managing the Atlassian suite. And it's built-in SLAs which tracks the output of your team and also thereby the organization as well. And the reporting is a key and foremost important thing to foresee what's happening and where we'll be ending up as a project, as an organization as well. And the most important feature in JSM is asset management, which helps the organization to keep all the assets, no matter what they are, from the Moses to the virtual servers at a centralized location so that it can be accessed just through the laptop. What's happening on the system, where is it, which location is it, what is the status of it, everything can be seen straight from your laptops or from your mobile. Advanced workflows. uh, it just would like to know, like, is my screen properly visible?
Maybe you haven't pressed the slideshow,
No,
Kalyani.
I did actually, I did. I think
We
it's
are seeing the other screen. We are seeing the screen where you have
He,
the the presentation, but not the slides. I mean
oh,
the.
okay, I think it's stuck. One second, let me reshare.
Thank you very much.
So, can you able to see my screen now?
Yes, we are, but we see the
Okay,
same
so
screen.
yeah, I'm just going with the presentation mode. Let me know. Uh, is it in the presentation mode now?
No.
No, I think there is a problem. So now can you see I'm scrolling through the slides?
Yeah, we see that you're changing slides, yes,
Okay,
but it's
okay,
not presentation mode. I think we can continue with this. It's still good visible.
okay. Even now, it's not in the presentation mode.
No.
Oh, I think there seems to be a problem. All right. But I mean, my system is pretty fine, and I go through. Right.
I
Let's
think
start.
it's okay, Kalyani. I think it's okay, Kalyani. You can proceed.
Okay.
Just with the next buttons is fine.
All right. So yeah. Um, yeah, I was talking about the unique features of JSM. So yeah, I already talked about no code, it being very minimal technical knowledge. You can spin up an instance and become proficient to a level of an administrator and start working across with your use cases of the organization. And the other point, other very important, is the SLAs, which makes your team efficient, and the way you respond within the organization or to your clients is the key in terms of acceptance of the project or a program as well. And the reporting is another key feature to understand how is everything going upon from a granular point, how your today's work is been happening, how many tickets have been raised, what's been closed, and how your team is been performing in a given period of time. So there are pretty much a lot of gadgets available in the with the Atlassian, so you can choose as per your requirement. Assets and the configuration management system, which the one of the best and top-notch features in JSM. So this will allow you to put across all the peripherals of your organization to an extent of your virtual servers and your in-house servers as well, and get all the configurations needed in a centralized database. And also, you can integrate this with HR management as well, so that whenever there is a new person onboarding, you can assign the required laptops or any gadgets the person would be needed. So it will help in smoothening. And also, if you have to raise an issue with your laptop or with your mouse, so it's just a ticket you need to raise and select uh, your peripherals from the drop down and then raise it and straight forward to the facilities person who is looking into it. So it would give a granular idea, like what is an issue, what is the OS that's happening, and what is the licensing, what are the applications installed on it. So it is a very go to for any facilities or an operational team to have all the things at a given point at a given place. And the next one is advanced approval workflows. So now in the current ecosystem, the approvals are the key, so that we have right thing delivered to the customers. So we have multiple levels of approvals available, group approvals available, and single approvals available at different workflows, by even categorizing the approvals based on the request types and the categorization of the request types. So it's a vast in itself, but gives you a best possible and a standardized approach in terms of approvals. The other one, and the most important one, is the deep integration with Atlassian ecosystem. This makes an organization to adapt Atlassian altogether as a suite and a single vendor to go for different modules or different features like JSM. It can integrate with the Jira software, which is a development soft application, and it can also integrate with Confluence, which is a knowledge base, and you can also integrate with Bitbucket, Bamboo, so that organization can go for a single place and get everything in there to suit for an organization which is also a non-IT organization, and which is a mix and hybrid of IT and also non-IT solutions. And the next one is the Atlassian intelligence. So now everything is AI. So Atlassian also keeps ahead of the technology and keeps adopting to the user requirements as well. So in terms of Atlassian intelligence, so what we get out of here is that you can categorize the similar incidents and requests and make your approach to resolve a similar instance much quicker. And you can also plan for an virtual service agent as well through AI, and there is a better way of agent assignment through this intelligence, so which gives a further top-notch approach in terms of resolving the issues. And of course, help center as well, we can use AI so that the request can be solved at the first instance itself by reducing the number of tickets to be raised. And also, its feature is also to integrate with the different chat applications like Slack and Teams, so that you need not always go to the portal or go to the URL and raise your requests, but also you can go to this chat ops and raise it from there. And you can also work upon the assigned tickets for you straight from the Teams or Slacks. And the another best is that it is also available on mobile, so agents can straight away work from the mobiles as well wherever they are. They need not always go onto the browser and look for the application and look for their requests and go for the resolutions, and also they can straight away work from the mobile. So you are anywhere, but you are up to the mark on your assigned tasks. The pricing flexibility is one of the simple and cleaner structure. So there are multiple tiers based on your requirement, technical requirement, and based on your user tier. You can choose it. It is pretty black and white, available on the web. Of course, it would be different when you reach out to vendors like us. A slight variation you will be getting it, but yeah, it's very transparent in nature and it can scale. The most important is the scalability. You are now 10 and tomorrow you are 20. It can grow as you demand. uh, Last but not least, what its compatibility JSM has and why it being one of the topmost ITSM solutions available on the market is because of its user interference, which is very user friendly. And I'm just trying to compare with the ServiceNow and BMC over here. So if you compare with ServiceNow, it's more complex and it's time consuming when you're trying to deal with the customizations of your customers, and BMC is a bit moderate when compared to Atlassian. In terms of integrations, JSM is very flexible, so you can have an API exposed. That's it. That's a bare minimum one. You can integrate with the JSM, and also it has a huge marketplace where you can choose for the built-in apps like connectors or plugins to get integrated. When it comes to its competitor service, now it's very limited and also complex, and BMC is also moderate in this category. And pricing wise, it's Atlassian, as I've shown, it's very flexible and scalable as well. No downtime needed when you're scaling up or down. And ServiceNow, its pricing is very high and scalability is also not much flexible in there. Whereas in BMC, it's not very flexible nor the high. It lies on the moderate side. So yeah, I believe I have covered enough, like what how a JSM and altogether by an Atlassian suit itself is a go-to product for any organization. I'll be happy to take any questions at the moment.
Thank you very much, Kelly. So let me see if there are questions in the chat.
Okay.
Florencia say thank you. Let me see, can I never use the Q&A. Let me see if I can enable. Yeah, now I can enable. Apologize, I'm learning to use. So if you have any questions, I enable the Q&A. So feel free to raise any question or just add in the chat so we can answer your questions into the chat.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for this presentation. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time as well. And
Thank
maybe
you.
we also can organize. I think we were planning to do one on-site event with your company in May. Is
Yeah.
that correct? Yeah. So maybe we can prepare something else for that event. Really
Sure.
appreciate it.
Thank
I
you.
do see we have questions, but during the session, if we have other questions, what I will do is I will just pass to you so we can answer. But for now,
Absolutely.
we don't have any. So we can continue with the second part of this session by Raji. She's going to present the discovery of the assets, which is another key important piece into the Atlassian GSM. You have as Erin explained it, you have the Atlassian Jira Service Management Solution for Service Portal, assets management, but there is a problem whenever you have that. You need to populate those assets. So what Ray is going to show us. Oh, we have a question from Sean. Do you see many customers shifting from ServiceNow to GSM? That's a good question. Do you have
Yeah.
knowledge? I think.
I don't see the
Questions.
yeah.
Yeah,
Can you just read it again, please?
sure. The question is, if you saw many customers switching from ServiceNow to GSM.
Yes, I do. I do. So yeah, there currently also we are working on a project to move from ServiceNow to JSM. Yeah, that's a trend picking up.
And do you know which features or which reasons they can have to
Yeah.
do the switch?
Yes, the one big one which I was mentioning it in the matrix as well, it's because of its complexity what ServiceNow has in terms of changing or adapting to the requirements what ServiceNow has. Whereas it compared to Atlassian, it's not like that. It's very easy to adopt any new change coming up, and also in terms of the pricing, which is too high, whereas you get the same features with Atlassian. And on the other side is that you have the technical efficiency when it comes to that, so it is quite high in terms of service now, whereas in Atlassian it's moderate, so it's easy to pick up the concepts and get going upon it, and the integration as well, which is very flexible for JSM and compared to ServiceNow.
Thank you very much. I hope we answer your question, Sean. I'm going to close the Q&A and let's
There is one
proceed.
more.
There is one
Um,
more.
yeah, Anandi.
Oh, yeah.
So her question is when features customers are missing when moving from ServiceNow to JSM, how do you address the gap? So that's a good question there. So it depends actually. I prefer to have a workaround if it's possible or not. And it's basically when there is also a gap, if there is a gap. And I try to address from the customer point of view what is the requirement and what is their goal of achieving it and how we can address that in Atlassian. So that's how I would start with.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think we are done with the questions. So we can start with the second part.
Sure. Thank you, Frank. And thanks to you, Kalyani. That was a very nice, informative presentation from you. So
Thank you.
my topic is also in a way related to the previous topic, but more in detail, like how we can automate few parts of the service desk management and primarily asset management by utilizing one of the add-ons that are freely available from Atlassian. When I say it's free, if the user, the company is using a data center model, the feature comes as a free option. And if the company is using Atlassian Cloud, so the premium license will include the plugin, the add-on as a free option. So this is a very useful add-on that we can utilize in any organization. So just going to the background, like what is asset discovery and how it is related to the Jira. So many of you just know about Jira as a project management tool, but it also has a feature which is asset management that goes along with Jira service management. And what is asset discovery? Asset discovery is nothing but a network scanning option that can be used to detect the hardware and software that is connected to your network, extract the details about the each of the assets that are connected within the same network. So why do we need asset management and why do we need asset discovery? So in the market, the only solution that provides the total real-time configuration management database with Atlassian Jira is only asset management. And it's the only option that offers dependency mapping and impact analysis in Jira platform. So what it means to us? So it is not just a database that holds all the asset information, but we can extend the functionality by integrating with other parts of the Atlassian Jira, such as the JSM, and which we will see very shortly how we can do that, how we can utilize that feature in our environment. And the next one is, it is not just a manual option, but we can do a lot of um, automation in place for asset management and also for our end-to-end uh, tracking of an incident or a change management in an organization. So how does asset discovery work? So asset discovery works on a simple ICMP ping, provided the devices are enabled to respond on the ICMP port. So if the ICMP is disabled for a security reason, then we can also utilize the forced IP based um, connectivity test. This can be done by providing the access to the hosts which are currently disabled on the ICMP part by connecting with the username and password, and we can gather the details that we want to maintain. And there will be a question here, like we are gathering all the company specific asset details and also we are storing them in a particular location. What about the security? So when we are gathering the information and storing them, they are securely stored in an XML and zipped with a password, an encrypted password. So there is no way of breaching the data while we gather the data. And also when we are transferring the data from your host where the asset discovery is running to another location. So when I say another location, say if you are hosting the asset management on a data center, all the data that you gather will be securely stored into a shared host so that the file is accessible by Jira. When you are using the asset management on cloud, the data will be directly made available to Atlassian cloud that is linked. So both ways, there is security in place and the data is transferred securely. And when we talk about Jira Cloud, the data is copied and there is SSL protocol that is being used while transferring the data from the host where the discovery tool is running and to the Atlassian cloud. Now, I'll start sharing my screen just to brief you about how the asset management works. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Not yet. Now it's loading. We
Too
see
many
us.
windows.
Yeah, correct.
I don't know why it is happening like that. So I hope it is visible right now.
Yep. Now we can see.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. So here we can see that the assets are mainly stored or referred in Jira Service Management. That is connected to Asset Discovery Collector. This is nothing but the application where the application is running as a collector, and the type of data from the network, such as the servers, and there could be any type of assets, such as the virtual systems, Unix servers, storage servers, Windows operating. So all these type of um, devices or servers can be managed or tracked and maintained within the asset management tool. So there are so this is a very simple solution for any other. At a first glance, we will see that it is a very simple solution. But when we look at an environment, say like this approach is suitable for a small organization where the company's CIDR is with /24, which means at up to 254 hosts are maintained within that particular CIDR. So what about a larger network, a larger organization, such as /16, CIDR /16, where it supports up to 65K appliances or IP addresses. So that is very huge, and one collector cannot hold that amount of data. So in that scenario, we will have another um, we will have agents that serves the same functionality as in case of discovery tool, but to a limited scope. I mean, a small subnet of these possible IP addresses. So we can have multiple agents that are running under a discovery tool, which gathers the information of all the devices within the defined network and report them back to the asset discovery collector. So when we set up the asset discovery tool, we can also define which are the agents that are to be configured in the environment, so that we gather all the information in collectively and report it back to the JSM um, asset management. So that's out. And I'll just give you an information on what are the minimum system requirements to install asset discovery tool. So it runs on a 64-bit systems and 4 GB of RAM and 2 gigahertz of CPU and 500 MB of disk space is a minimum requirement in order to install and run a discovery tool. So I will show you shortly on how the tool looks like and what are the configurations that are provided on the tool. So it can be hosted on a Windows machine or it can be hosted on a Linux machine. When we run it on a Linux machine, we have to make sure that it supports the instance supports the graphical user interface, because all the configuration will take place on the GUI. So how do we install it? So we have to download the add-on from Atlassian Marketplace with the name. The file would be with the name discovery so and so dot zip. So this zip file will contain two installers, one as an agent, the other one as a tool. So in order to as we have seen, depending upon your use case, we can decide whether we run the discovery tool on its own or we can have agents and the tools in place. So based on that, we run the installation. Once the tool has been installed, the configurations or these first time setups has to be executed with this command. And then we run the discovery on the network as a trial, and then we do the remaining configuration. And when it is installed on Linux, we can also set up the scheduler with the command line, and we can set up, we edit the cron tab and add the entry so that the discovery application is executed in a particular frequency. It could be as much as every 10 minutes, we can run the discovery on the network. So without ado, I will start sharing my screen on the actual tool itself. So here, as we see on one of the hosts, I have downloaded the plugin or the add-on. So as we can see, there are two elements of it. One is a tool as set up as an agent, and the other one as a tool. In this particular example, I have very small network. I mean, I just try to have at least three hosts in the scope. So so the best option here is the discovery tool. So how do we run it? So it is a Windows machine that I'm using in this case. it has been installed under the programs Atlassian Discovery Tools. To initiate the settings, we need to run discovery-s. That will bring up a launch dialog. When you do it for the first time, you will be prompted to set a password. So the all the configurations are securely enabled on the system. And now I'm just launching the application. So I just enter the password. As we can see, the first tab is just information, what the tool is about. And the second tab is about configuration. So how many number of threads that the system can run, and the tool is enabled, and maximum scan thread time. So number of threads. So at any point in time, the discovery tool can run 2 threads per core. So if your machine is a quad core, so you can decide like how many threads you want to run in parallel. So each core can support 2 threads, concurrent threads. And maximum scan thread time is 10 minutes. So if suppose you are running a discovery on a very large network, it must be timed out after certain time, otherwise your system will crash. So you need to make sure that you are setting up the number of threads in a feasible way according to your system size and the timeout as well. How much is a feasible value? Next, log level. So we can define as soon as a job is executed, a log will be created on the host on the findings from the execution. So you can define whether it is a normal or a debug mode. And the remaining, I'm in conscious of time, I'll cover only the important ones over here. So as we know, the connectivity is tested by a ICMP or ping. We can define at what how much is the timeout, and if we want to repeat, how many times we can repeat, and also SNMP. So these are all the different type of network connectivity tests that are possible. So WMI timeout is for Windows machine. Say you are in your network, you have Windows machine, you can set the timeout for the Windows machines. I mean, after some, at what point it gets timed out. Here, what we see is all about defaults. Now, moving on to the next one is the export. So like I mentioned earlier, we can export the zip file either to a shared home for Atlassian data center. That can be done through the SFTP or SFTP RSA, or none will save it to the local, or we can connect to the Jira Service Management Cloud itself. So when you run an execution, it will be directly updated in your Atlassian cloud. So these are all the possible ways of exporting your data. Next, moving on to the patterns. Patterns will define what level of data or what type of a data that you capture, and you it will be stored in our um, database management. So for interest of everyone, so I just opened what type of data that we capture from CPU, Linux CPU. So if your network has a Linux CPU, you will capture CPU physical ID, or these are all the cores. So these are all the configurable items that you gather the information about and store in your database. So likewise, you have different type of options. These are all the feasible options that can be gathered from your network elements. Also, if you want to define your own pattern, you have option to create the pattern. So if something is missing on that, so you can define what level of information you want to capture by defining a custom pattern. Moving on to the next one, scan settings. So scan settings will allow you to define which of the network ranges or the forced IP addresses that we want to manage within the tool. So this can be enabled by just clicking the entry, and you can have the scan interval. So this is by default. You have a scan interval on a daily basis or a weekly basis. You define a new scan date time and IP range. So it can hold a single IP address, or you can define a CIDR based upon your configuration. You can define. You have to maintain the setting, but make sure that when you are running it, it has to withstand, the system should withstand the range that, I mean, the amount of load that you are bringing with this scan. Okay, so when you add it, you can start the evaluation for the first time. So evaluation will begin with a simple ICMP, and it doesn't try to connect, but just try to connect via ICMP. So you get the instant response saying like how many hosts it can reach, and which are all unsuccessful through ICMP. So this information you will get it. So this will ensure that your network connections are in place and you are able to manage your connection, your settings. And moving on to the credentials. So credentials will allow you to maintain the um, login details when you are defining the host. So why do we need this one? So the previous test will only make sure that it is connected in the network, but how do you gather the details? So you should maintain some level of connectivity to the host that you are managing. So it is preferred that you maintain a single user account in your network that allows connectivity and gather the information. So you'll have one single setting for all the hosts that in the network, um, and you type the type of a connection. If it is a Windows, it is a username and password. And if it is a Linux machine, you can go for SSH or SSH RSA. So based upon your requirement, you just make it connected. And then you can validate whether your system can be connected or not. In this case, the host where the tool is running has been enabled as the first connection. So I will test the connection by entering the IP address just to validate that the credentials that I have entered are correct. So with this one, it quickly runs a test and connection test is successful. So that's how I can validate my about my settings. Next, moving on to the next tab, agents. Like we have seen earlier, in a large network, we must have agents in place that will run the similar scan in a smaller set of computers. I mean, not just the computers, all the devices in the network, and report them back to the collector, which is nothing but the instance where we have this tool. So we can set the IP range for the agents and the interval, how frequently we gather that information over here. So this is what I mean, that's about the agent configuration over here. Next, these are all internal configuration. So like any other application, when we run a tool on a system, we have to create a user and make sure that the tool is running with that user as a when the service is running with the user name. And update. As we know, this is also a plugin. So as we see here, newer version is available. So it's a later version that is available, 7.12, and we will get the information. If you want to update your asset management tool, you can do it by with the procedure that is available over there. So this is all about the configurations possible in the configuration dialog. So I'll quickly close this one and run a sample execution. So right now, the only host that can respond to the connections will be the host where the tool is running. I couldn't manage to get the other servers in a same network or respond to this to the tool uh, in time. So we have only one valid value that goes in. So I have started it. As we can see, it says like one IP to scan, because that's the only one that is responding. And I have selected multiple options from the patterns. So there could be some errors because they are not applicable for this particular host. So we could see the results very shortly. It's going with each of the every pattern that we have configured. So when we are setting up the patterns, we have to make sure that only the relevant data is being selected, and that makes it more meaningful when we run in a large set of networks. So if we have Jira being hosted on the system, even it tries to get the Atlassian Jira specific values. That includes the SCN numbers, the license, everything. So the asset could be a software, it could be a hardware component, or it could be even the license or the user. So we have to make a choice in an appropriate way. Here, I think so. I have selected all the patterns, and that's how it is. And now we can see that start packing. So the scanning has been completed over here, and the full scan time, how long it took, and the file has been created. It first creates an XML file, then it zips it, and then it will be transported. So here I have already created a schema on Atlassian Cloud and enabled the connectivity with a token. And hence it just validates that the token is valid and then copies the data to cloud. So this is the end-to-end process once we have automation in place. Now I'll quickly take you through the configuration on Atlassian Jira, how it looks like. So this is the Atlassian Jira Cloud. I created the asset discovery schema, and this schema has import of job has been created and linked. So when we have a job here, we can always generate a token and connect the remote host in order to gather the information from the discovery tool to Atlassian Cloud. At any point in time, you can view the history on on the current execution, previous execution, like what whether it was a success and what type of a data being captured. So all that log can be found here, like how many number of entries and what has been executed and how many hosts. So all the scan details or the summary can be found under the um, import history. Now, moving on to the actual asset uh, schema itself. So initially, so the best way to install an asset discovery in any environment is to run a manual execution, transport the zip file, and import into a specific asset discovery schema, so that all the manageable or the object types gets created automatically, and you manage them later on with the automation by creating the token and integrating the remote host. But if you want to extend it, it can be possible that you can define the schema first. What are the manageable object types you want to have, and then run the integration and make sure the patterns are up to date, that can hold the information, that you can get the information from the remote environment, remote application servers or remote devices. Okay. Now, out of our interest, so there is only one entry out of the host that has been created. So we can see when the when the object has been created and when it was updated. So the first one was a manual entry. I mean, when I set up the object schema in a manual fashion, the object has been created. But later on, I terminated the node, and that's how, when we look into the details, you could always find that it is not found. So, which means like in the next scan, it didn't return anything about this host. So it is not found. So that's the status, current status of the object. And when we look into the next one, this is an active node. And you could see that the status is up to date. And all the linked items or the linked objects information, you can see it on the right-hand side. So at this point in time, you might have the question, okay, fine, you gathered the information and you dumped it into a database. So what next? So the best way of utilizing the automation here is by integrating asset management into a service desk portal. So when we say the service desk portal, say suppose we have an example here, John. John works in a test team. So every day he validates that he runs a test on the application that is hosted on this particular host. And it is his job that if he finds any issue, he has to report it back to the IT team or the asset management team, that if in case of any issues. So for that one, what he does, he just opens the um, service desk portal. One fine day, he is not able to connect to the system. So what he does, he'll simply open the service desk portal. He's not able to find the other one. So let's report on the old one, which is not found. Not able to connect to this instance, to this host. And he can actually select the host from the service desk portal itself. So he can type in and look for the host from the service desk itself and report it back. Let me select the correct one. The one is, say suppose for this case. So he says he's not able to connect to this host. Now the ticket is landed into a service desk portal, agent view. The agent tries to understand what the problem was. So he can quickly open the host details with the mapping. So maybe I have selected incorrect one. So he might have selected the not found host, and he quickly understands that there is some level of problem with the host. He can see um, the history, like what type of issues are linked to this particular host, and quickly understand that. So that it's a little bit imaginary over here. I don't have it in the demo here, but he noticed that there is a deployment team who has deployed something onto the host on the previous day and nightly build, and there is a fault in the host. I mean, for that the application is not running. So quickly, what the service desk agent can do is quickly assign this issue to the um, software team, saying like, okay, your boss, your nightly build has failed and the application is not running. It has been reported on our customer portal. So you could see how seamlessly user or the different groups or different teams can collaboratively work with the help of this type of an integration. The user can easily pick the host from the service desk portal. Agent can quickly see that there is a problem because of the um, automatic scanning. So they have the up-to-date information. If it is running every 10 minutes, it is more accurate. And then they are able to pinpoint where the problem is, and it can be assigned to the relevant team. So that's the topmost uh, functionality we can derive with the asset management, with the asset discovery. So this is one such an example, but we can build even more. So this is only for project teams usage. You could also have even the allocation for even the users. When a new person joins a team, he get all type of assets being tagged to him, such as a laptop or a printer, for that matter. So if anything goes wrong, they can quickly understand what the problem is and what's the history. They can see. So these are all the good things about asset management and the asset discovery. So I hope I hope you followed something from the demo. And thanks each one of you, for giving me the opportunity to present you on the asset management. I will now hand it over back to Frank.
There is already one question from Rohit in the chat, if you can have a look.
Sure. Can the agent discover applications running on the host like database, web applications? How many agents can report to a single collector? Yes, there is no hard limit, but you have to make sure that your network is designed in a proper way. When I say in a proper way, each so make sure your jobs are scheduled in a evenly distributed manner, so they won't be overloaded, and the CPUs can withstand the load. And yeah, as we have seen in the one of the screen in one of the slides, it can support all type of hosts that it can. And also, if you have a specific, I think so, we have seen in the patterns also, if there is certain database, you can gather even the minute details from the pattern that we can define. So yes, it is possible.
Thank you very much. It was a very good example, very nice. We have another one. How much network bandwidth required the access data transfer to GSM?
There is no such a thing, but it depends how quickly you want to have the data being reflected on the Atlassian cloud. So you have to make a wise decision. And how big is your data? So if you bombard with a huge amount of data, you have to plan accordingly.
Yeah, definitely. As far as I remember, when I was working with the REST APIs of Atlassian in cloud, it was like, because in the end it's going to do REST APIs queries, right? And it was a default limit that apps had around 1,000 per hour. I think also depends of the license you have. And
Yep,
yeah, right. You say the number of data you want to transfer. Mm, let's see if there is any other question in the chat. Anyone else has any query about how to do this? By the way, I don't know if we still have in the call Kaylin. I think I forgot to mention if we want to, if anyone wants to reach out to you, Raji, Kaylin, is there any? What is the best channel? If there is any question, some guest wants to later ask to you or contact to you, how can we contact you? Is there, do you want a specific channel, email, LinkedIn, anything?
sure. I will give my email address where you can reach out, and I'll try to answer as much as I can.
Or question, or maybe also help, because as both of you work in different companies that provide this type of support, could be interesting. There is another question from Nicholas. It is possible to schedule periodic reloads, but only for a specific object type. That's a very good question.
Sorry, I missed the question. Is it possible to schedule periodic reloads, but only for a specific object type? Mm, yeah, so then you have to design your um, the entire configuration on the tool that you have selected a specific pattern and a specific host. And yeah, so that way. But again, it is not possible when you have only one tool serving multiple hosts. So that's how it is. Like you have to define, you have to bring in agent when you want to do that.
So if you want to have different schedules, you will need to have different agents.
No, if you want to have different patterns, because a pattern is a generic configuration under
Mm.
what data we collect. But if you want to have a schedule, yes, definitely you can define schedules.
So should I define different connectors? Nicholas,
In this
right?
case, if it is specific to the schedules, we don't need it. But if you want to change the pattern and the schedule, you need a different connector.
And that's a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kalyani, if what is the best channel for you if the people wants to contact you for, I don't know, for support to your company, or maybe if they're interested in services that you related to the topic you presented? By the way, Raji, please share the best contact on the channel so the people have your contact as well.
Sure. So this
Thank
is
you.
the company name, and I will give you my email address that you can reach in case of any questions.
Perfect. Okay, I don't think. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for taking your time and joining us, and I hope you like the session. And also, we will be posting upcoming events in our Dublin Atlassian community group on LinkedIn. So please follow us and try to um, participate as much as you can. And we will shortly announce our next event that is going to happen in month of May, where there could be some interesting topics in and around assets again. So, and also more.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pavan. I see. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining to this call. Really appreciate it. Have
Thank
a
you.
good week and see you next time.
See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.